We're going to finish Be'ez Hashem's work today, the series of Pasakim and Bishalakim. Make a small achazora in the end of the Ikon Kiddas. But before, I said last time, we're going to speak about a very important halachas, the Kailam, which is a common shala. You have a goiter who cooks something in a pan. You have non-shomer Shabbos, which cooked in a pan in your house. What do you need to do? You need to kash it, not to kash it. So this I want to go through a little bit. These are lochas and some odds and ends, and then we'll go over a little bit chazur of the ganze Zach, and we'll move on. Okay, the locha is the Mechaber writes. Again, it's Simakif Yid Gimel. Over there is Hilchas Bishalakim. In Sif Tezai, the Mechaber writes, if a goy cooked food in a pot, and it's also Mishum Bishul Akim, and you know the kaila, which kaila it is, you have to kasher it. So if you have a non-Jewish cleaning lady, which is in your house, and she cooked scrambled egg, the frying pan is also, you have to kasher it. As the Mechaber, in the first shitta, Bestam, Mechaber says, if the goy cooked something in a pot, you have to kasher it. Who's the shitta? There's a shitta Sarashbin, there's a bias, which says that you have to kasher it. Now, let's just make it clear. The Shachis Moisev has to be in such a scenario that she cooked something for herself. If she cooked something for the house, we have a killer which the Ramu says, usually Bebais Yisruel, and she cooked for the house, is the Ramu says, efshir, that nobody stirred the pot. If you cook something, a soup or something, it's almost impossible. This is Azizuk Ramu, and therefore we are relying on it. So therefore, it's not mistaba that if she cooks for the whole family, that nobody stirred the pot. So therefore, almost is a problem. So we're talking about, she made a scrambled egg for herself. In such a case, there's no reason that this person should stir the pot. So therefore, Zuk the Mechaber, it's asr. Then the Mechaber adds on, v'yesh omrim, she'ain tzurich. So the Mechaber says the first daya bestam, that you have to kasher the kaila which a goy cooked over there something is also v'shis like him. And then the Mechaber says v'yesh omrim, you don't know it. Who's this? This is the ru'u. You know on the Torah Sabayis there is the Mechaber, the Rashba wrote the Sefer Torah Sabayis, and he has the ru'u which wrote hasugas on the Rashba. So the ru'u holds that Rabbi Ne'ana Laivi, one of the Rishonim, holds that basically you don't need to kasher. So the Mechaber brings down both shittas, but the first shitta he brings down that you have to kasher. We know a klal in a psak. We know the klal in a psak. But whenever the Mechaber brings two shittas, and the first one is bistam, and the second one is vayesh omrim, we pass like the first. We pass like the first. So therefore, Pashat the Mechaber paskins that if you have a kaile which you cooked bishalakim, it's also you have to kasher it. What is the reason? What is the svuras hamachloikis? The Tama Osram is because since Chazal asad bishalakim, it's a heftes gewan user mit rabunan. Now this pot has a blia of a dovis user mit rabunan. We call the tikkun rabunan ken der reise tikkun. Whatever the Chazal asad, they made the same category that, like it's a deraisa. So since when you have a piece of nevaila gets cooked in a pot, you have to kash the pot. The same is a bishlaka, which is also be'etzem midrabunan. This is also midrabunan. That's the tama oisrim. And the tama matirim is that basically, since the whole gzaire is mishvachasnas, remember we brought down in the first shir. Machloikis Fisher Rishonim Toisvus holds the problem is Mechasnas, Rasha holds the problem is Shemi Yachili Duvar User, and we brought down as the Riva the Riba Nishriba come out, all the points can hold that we passing like Shittas Rasha. So therefore, we are the reason is Mechasnas, Tana de Matiram, that basically in the Machel Magasat Mechasnas. But choishes on wegen a blia in a top wegen chasnas, that's already a stretch. That's already too far. Therefore, halt the matiram, the food is used, but in order to be kasher, it is that means it's a stretch, and therefore we don't have to be kasher. Now, halacha l'maaseh, what do we do? Is as I mentioned before, always in the mechaber paskas bestam, it brings one bestam, and the second is the yeshomrim we paskin in the first. So paskin the pritoyer, the famous Arachaim HaKudosh has a sefer on a yerdeya. It's called pritoyer, and he paskins that is taka oser, as we dach mit paskinen, and as we paskin the chachmas uda miklal samachvov, durch hashilchen, the chroine paskin the bikaron, that basically that you don't have to kasher. What is the shittus Remu? The Remu doesn't say anything on it. But there is a Prima Gudam. Prima Gudam writes, in the Psich of Arachaim. The Prima Gudam in Psich of Arachaim writes the Prima Gudam that the Remu is Michael. What's basically his thought? Because the Remu, when it comes to Chul of Akim, over there, he writes some kind of words. K'moshe Kisafti, Michael Zan, Gaba Bishul Akim. So since Pas Akim and Bishul Akim, he wants to say one lump sum. So therefore, hal the Prima Gudam, that the Remu is Beisa Michael. As we hal the Prima Gudam. But Lamasa, we accept the Psak B'derech Klal, the Ketchila, that you're going to kasher. And therefore, the kasher organizations, the Chassidish kasher organizations, when they come into a company, which there is a problem of Bishul, it's a Bishul Akim problem, they will kasher the company. Now again, lekitchila, sof kosof, hamarins, the machaber, in mekenes, and you kasher lekitchila. But the evet, and my balzen came Michael zan, aber akpuna lekitchila is a passing machaber that you should kasher it. Now even if what?
Which company the kasher what?
They kasher the machines who cook food in the grocery companies. Yeah, for instance, you have like you see on the Cheerios, on the cornflakes, Bishul Yisrael, on potato chips, all these kind of things they will kasher the machine in because they want it has a bliya of Bishul Akim.
All the machines are after the cooking process.
After the cooking process, when they come in a company which they make potato chips, Lay's potato chips, yeah. So they have a run which they have a Chassidish Echsher, I think CRC or Sachdas, I remember who. So therefore, after they finish. In the whole, that potato chips is the problem for Bishul Akim, as we mentioned the whole thing before. But minor, they will kasher it. That's the L'gitchila. But even the Machaber, what?
What do you mean by the Evid?
But David, if you didn't kasher it, could I eat the food now?
Oh, so after it's cooked,
this has to be the David. Or if he cannot kasher it, I mean, someone can it's a bit to them. The Machaber itself, the Machaber is be'etzim the Machmer, that you have to kasher the Kailam. So you talk about the Machaber, that if it's a klacheres which cannot be kashered, so the mechaber align. For instance, porcelain. Yeah, somebody has a porcelain. Where is it very common? Yeah, there are pots which are porcelain. Yeah, a crack pot or so there. Such a case, the goy cooked. It's a klacheres. In klacheres you cannot kasher. So the what? Turned on. Yeah, turn the shul. Yeah, or at house. As we're going to come to this nice Nikidus, we're going to speak a little bit soon. But Ma'ila, in such a case, although he can't kasher it, so don't throw it away. In such a case, then Zug the Mechaber, you could toivel it 3 times, and that's enough. Since Bishul Akim is a Iser, was ein lo Iker Matoira, so Chadrabun the Iser, to begin with. There are some Isirim which the Iker is do a Minatoira, but the way how we have it is Chadrabun the Iser. This is ein lo Iker Minatoira Klal. Zug the Mechaber, in such a case that you cannot kasher it, such a case, it's okay. Therefore, a thing which comes up, common up, that a Leklini Grady used a frying pan, which a frying pan, which is alo aish, could be a shale, maybe you need linen, and it's nicht möglich. If you kasher it, it should be fine when it's a problem of Bishul Akim. But the Eivet, if you used a pot which you didn't kasher and you cooked in it, it's a zameter. Why? Because in Samara Klal, that Bishul Akim, machroikes Rishonim, der Rash behalt nicht so, aber a groß heilig von der Rishonim, von der Rishonim Paskenen, Bishul Akim wird bottle beruif, you don't have to have shishim. So therefore, usually in a pot, you have shishim keneged the belias, and therefore, by the Evet, zugich, as nicht kein problem. Then according to the first die, it's a problem. But if usually we will be a roiv, therefore, you cannot go cook in that machine or in that pot when you didn't cash it. If it happens to be you use it without cashing it, you can be Michael. But to go use it without cashing, this is not a thing which we are going to do. In this is how the Ramu writes it like a pass. Pas, we have a klal, pas akim, zug the Ramu in Simon Kifid Bais, the Simon which talks about pas akim. And over there, the Ramu zug, Sifid Alat, as pas akim vet butel with pas Yisroel. Zugt aber Avadas is uselig tchil mevatel zu sein. The same thing is by Bishul akim, which Bishul akim is more chumah than pas akim, that you cannot be mevatel tchil, but if it happens to be, that happened to it, and there's roiv, it's not a problem. Now again, the Rashba does disagree. The Rashba holds that even by Bishul Akim you need 60 shishim that you should use. But Hakapunam, a father lekitchila we try to have the killer to be machma like the Rashba, you should have shishim. But lamaisa in a case, in a case which mot nish gekat, usually you have roiv, hat man sich verlassen, aber das Sache wird sein meter. Since we just said that basically we had bottle baroif, so could you kasher ben yoyma or nish ben yoyma? Yeah, we know we don't kasher a kele only when it's eine ben yoyma. Why is the reason why we kasher a kele eine ben yoyma? It's the guys at Pesach. Pesach is around the corner. Yeah, why don't we kasher a kele only when it's eine ben yoyma? Yeah, everybody asks a shala. The Rov tells you wait 24 hours and then kasher it. Why? The reason is Alter Rebbe brings it down Tufni and Aleph that Tufni Bais. That basically, that if you don't have shishim, you have a knife, for instance, or you have a spoon which is treif. Now, you kasher it, you don't have shishim. What happens? You kasher it, the blier comes out from the spoon, goes into the water. What happened to the water? There's no shishim against it. The water becomes osir. Now, what happens? The water goes back into the pot. Yeah, the water goes into the pot. So, what happens? You still have the problem in the pot or into the spoon. You had an iser, went out into the water, but there's no shishim, so the whole water became aser. Now, from the water goes back into the spoon after the good shov getin. Bei dem steht in Shichanurach, you have to have eine b'yoyim. Since it's eine b'yoyim aser nicht. What this, or you should have shishim. In Shichanurach steht, or you should make sure you have shishim, or even if you don't have shishim, you should have eine b'yoyim. The Alter Rebbe sucht schon, as we go according to the poskim that since we are afraid that sometimes they will have shishim, sometimes you don't have shishim, so therefore we made a klal, always eine b'yoyim, because when it's eine b'yoyim, you don't need to have shishim. When it's b'yoyim, you need to have shishim.
Why not?
What?
Why not?
Because it's pugam. Pugam askt nicht. Once it comes, it's pugam, it's after 24 hours, automatically the water comes out in, now tam pugam which goes into a spoon, askt nicht. So therefore there we need to have shishim. This is the reason why we need to have shishim. Now, because we have, what?
What does it help to kasher it again?
Oh, the people who kasher ben yoyma, so they're, eine von der Teire, which they do, like the OU will do it if they need to kasher. Sometimes they get kasher twice. What happens? You take a spoon, for instance, yeah? You kasher it. The blias from the spoon comes out, and there's no shishim. Yeah? There's, let's say, 50 times as much, the wasser becomes osir. Now, the water goes back into the spoon. The spoon is still osir. But how much is there in the spoon? It's not that the first time the whole spoon was osir. Now, it became bottle with 50. Halucha is not bottle, but it got mixed into 50. So when it goes in, only a 50% of the taste goes in. Now when you kash it again, what happens? You have shishim. So that's the concept of you should kasher twice. But again, Alter Rebbe paskins, we don't kasher ben yoyim b'chlal, we kasher eine yoyim. Sometimes when we have no choice, yeah, so therefore, the OU we use, so you make it pugam, or you kasher twice, or you make it pugam, you put in all kind of chemicals, which makes it pugam. So some people have a problem, because Alter Rebbe writes that you cannot kasher only with water, once you put in chemicals is a problem. But again, you put in some kind of thing which is pugam the taste, that's also happening, but also hatayrim. There's all hatayra. We are not going to lie. The Chassidus Shachshayim will not allow such things to make it pugam b'yom. We always will wait eine b'yom. Therefore, all the Chassidish companies, kashrus organization, when they come in to a company, they always come in Monday. Monday in the morning, because it's already eine bayoima. Now they can kasher.
And then they're only working in small plants.
The what?
They're only working in small plants. The big plants don't shut up.
If they don't shut up, you don't have a problem. Bishlakim, the first time you open it, is gewaltig. That's why I mentioned that a few years ago, maybe 15 years ago, I was in Anderson Pretzel Company in Lancaster, I think it's Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So over there, they used to work 24/7. So that was a gewaltige Sache. And they used to have now they have it still also, they have all the bags, Liebers, all the Chassidish bags they have on display, all the comments made by them. Everybody used to make by them. And there's no problem with Pasakim, because the first time you open it, and they work 24 hours. Only when if something's got a problem, shut off, then they call the Meshgich. Okay. But a few years ago, they changed from a 7-day working week to a 5-day working day. So now, they have to come in only Monday, and what?
So any Anderson pretzels is passing through?
Used to be. This used to be. But a couple of years ago, they changed to 5 days. So therefore, it's the same problem.
You can't have a scare coming in once a week.
What?
You can't have someone coming in once a
You
week.
could have. But they don't need. Who should send? Who should pay for it? They owe you a problem. So I'm saying that. But the Chassidish, if they need it for 2 weeks, they'll send a Meshgich. But if you don't need, they have one run. They don't make. Anderson is a humongous company. In 2 days they make for whatever, So therefore, there's no point. So going back to now our Shala. Now, since we just said that basically, Bishul Akim, Ved Bottle Baroiv, so you could Kasha Ben Yoima too. Because the whole reason why you don't Kasha Ben Yoima, because you don't want the whole thing of Shishim. Over here, it's over Shishim, it's Varav, it's okay. And there's a lot of boys who want to say that this is true. That basically, you don't need to have Eine B'Yoyma, it could be B'Yoyma, and that's fine to Kasher. And a lot of organizations will rely on it. If you can, you want to be machma like the Rashba, because the Rashba says you need shishim. Remember, I mentioned before that the Shitzis Rashba is Babishlakim you need shishim. So therefore, you should be machma if you can. But sof, since we pass in Bikeradin, we pass kan Sibotel Baroiv, it's not that important. It should be Eine B'Yoyim, it could be B'Yoyim. Avada lekitchila is a Rashba. But Hakapunim, in such a case, you could get away with it. Okay. Now I want to go interesting Shala. A person comes Erev Shabbos, Bein Hashmosh, after the Shkia. And this is a Shala which we have constantly. It happens. It's not a Zach, it happens. A young man calls, I have a crack pot, everything is in the crack pot, I forgot to put on the crack pot. It's after the Shkia, what do? Forgot? What do you do? Huh? A Schulen, nicht mal Schulen, the Shabbos? It's rule, huh? Wir können mal Shabbos und a Schulen? Okay, this is totally Bargaish. So what do you do in such a case? You have a Schulen, it's after the Shkia, you cannot turn it on. So what do? You have the right to call a goy to put it on. Why? Because we have a klal that by Nashmushes, you could tell for a goy to make a malocha, even a malocha daraisa, by Nashmush letzorich mitzvah. But this is to see the Shabbos, it's tzorich mitzvah. Since it's by Nashmushes. Shabbos, you could only ask a goy to do a drabonon. Because then it's a shvus de shvus. Saying for a goy is a shvus, is a drabonon. He's doing a malocha drabonon is shvus de shvus. Shvus de shvus, b'muke mitzvah, or hefset gudel, it's permitted. But in the Shabbos, you cannot tell a goy to do a malocha daraisa, L'tzorich mitzvah. Although it's only a shviz, but it's only one shviz. Telling for a goy. It's a malocha deraisa. So that's the halacha that you cannot tell for a goy. You cannot tell for the goy. Close the door, please. Thank you. You cannot tell for the goy that he should cook on Shabbos. But it comes ben hashmoshes. Ben hashmoshes, gifa is auch das sufik. So therefore, so steht in Shulchan Aruch, telling for a goy to do a malocha deraisa is permitted. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe writes, if a lady forgets to put on Shabbos candles and it's after the Shkia, she could go to a goy and tell the goy should light one candle for her, and one dafka one. Alter Rebbe did all one. That's Ike Mitzvah, and therefore it's fine. Although it's a Mechla Deraisa, putting on a candle is a Mechla Deraisa fire, but you are permitted to put on Banish Moshes. So now you don't have a cholent, yeah. So therefore, it's not a problem that basically the goy comes, you tell for the goy, put on the fire. Put on the fire or put on the electric, and you'll have a chon for Shabbos. But the problem is bishulakim. That's the problem. The problem, Shabbos has the gegeben. But what are you going to do with bishulakim? Now, if it's cooked already, shlish bishul. If Erev Shabbos you cooked it already, a third. So then we learn in the halacha that once the yid cooked it, shlish bishul, then it's fine. So that's not a question. But sometimes you put it on right before Shabbos, a crack pot, which you have anyways 60, 17 hours, which is going to work, special winter. So therefore, you put it on raw, and boom, it's not shlish bishul.
Are you like told to turn it on and then you take the car put off and put it back?
Chaz v'shulam, you put it on, it's bishul. So it's shalaf and bishul the rice. It's nicht chazura, it's nicht bashul geworden. It's a isa the rice. It's mamash bishul. You cannot say it. So what do you do in such a case?
What's in the special shlish?
No, it's also to do bishul the rice. If you have a thing which is cooked to shlish and you put it on the blech and it cooks fully, it's also man teure. It's man teure. Nicht kann so that's only when it's nashel gomra. Avada mit alle tnai chazura. You have to have a blech. You have to put it down. But that's only when it's in nashel gomra. What's not nashel gomra is also. People don't realize that. If you have you put on a cholent on the blech, and it's not nashel gomra. You take out the cover. You cover the back. You playing around with you see the rice. If it's fully cooked, it's something else. But it's not fully cooked. It's deck on top. You're going to playing with rice. So therefore, when you put on a thing which is not fully cooked, you put it on and you forget about it. You don't till you take it off. So
Did you say that it gets better when it cooks?
So what is the solution to such a case? So if it's a machel, like Duva just said, if it's a machel that it could get better, even if it's fully cooked, it's fully get better. For instance, a cholent. If it is a chicken soup, it doesn't get better. But if it is a machel, a thing which gets cooked better, the solution will be like this. Once you know for sure it's fully cooked, as long, he put it on, let's say, by Nishmoshes, 5:30, and in the morning, it's 100% cooked already, fully cooked. Now, what are you going to do? You take it off from the fire, you put it gleich back. Now again, it has to be t'nai chazura. There's a blech, has to be, you don't put it down. All the klulam of chazura you have. But once you have the chazura, now you put it on, back, and now you let it cook. Now it should become mistamag v'yufaloi. Haman is the shitta, that if it's mistamag v'yufaloi, it's nicht to bishulakim. So you have a solution that if such a case, you do it in the morning, because till then you don't know when it's fully cooked. You put it back, and that is a solution. But that's only if it's such a machal, that basically becomes mistamag v'yufaloi. If it's a chicken soup or that it's another thing, whatever you have on the nothing happens. In such a case, you're stuck. It's a problem for Bishlak. What is the solution if it's not Mistamar Yufla? What is the solution? So one of the Achroinim today's day brings down for the Shlomo Miller in Toronto. There's a Shkoiler Shlomo Miller. I go sit down with Chuchma, Groise Gudel. So he gave a very cute idea. He said like this: if it hadn't such a thing, if it's a crack pot at least, electric. You call a goy, you tell him he should shut the fuse of this whole room, or the whole kitchen. Shut the fuse. Yeah? Now tell for the goy, put it on the crack pot. Or put it in the crack pot, put on the crack pot, but it doesn't work. There's no electric. So yeah? Now, you say for the goy, thank you very much. You give him whatever you want to give him, a glass of schnapps or a piece of cake. You say, thank you, appreciate it, leave it closed. Now you call a second neighbor, and you don't tell him anything that they have a crack pot. You tell him the fuse over here is shut off. Please open the fuse. Yeah, show him the fuse. The guy opens the fuse. He doesn't know b'chlal as is do a crack pot of it. And kevanus levashel. Kevanus is b'chlal left in the light. The what? This always have manashmushes. Yeah. Yeah, but if not, you cannot tell a guy should make a melech the rice.
You could hint it after manashmushes?
What do you mean? You don't have to hint it. You could say it. What do you mean? No. Du scheiße na gut. Nach Woche sagen. Sie geht dran, geht dem Achua. No, avada nicht. If a guy wants to come, if it's... No, alle Sachen in Homan ist nicht. If you go into a room, it's pitch dark, and you want the goy should open the light, there's no heter. It's a mistake when people say, what? Especially, you cannot say for a goy you should open it, even if not pitch dark. If it's not pitch dark and he opened the light, has to heter because you could see, you have some light before, you could have, ich bin nicht so viel. But telling for a goy that you open the light is doch no moich. No. What? Even hinting too much. Not only if he don't say anything, he does it for him, for me, without telling him, he's awesome. If you're doing it for me, it's a problem. That's a problem. So that's a very cute idea.
Once the switch is off, you yourself can put it in the plug, no?
No. You don't do it in Shabbos, no.
Well, what about the whole heter that if they make it for you, it's fine. So
Do what?
you said there's heter that if they're making the food for you, then
Base
it's
is
fine.
true.
But basically, but we don't rely on that by Navrom. We only use it with Serif. When
Zero for Shabbos.
what
That's what
if
happens.
it happened to be that the goy did it, if it happened to be Taka, the goy put on the fire, and it's geworden, you didn't do one of the two items. We gave him away two items, yeah? One item is shut the fuse, the cute one, and the other item is also a very cute one. You put it back. But if it didn't happen to this, the goy put it on the fire, and you cooked it, yeah? But mukim and tzorich gudel, if you don't have anything what to eat, Taka mukim, you went out on vacation, you have only this food what they have. Yesh mukim l'hukel to add the mechulam. Why? Because now we're going to have a tzirif. We have the Rabbi Avrom, which says, b'bayis Yisrael, yeah, there's no bishlakim. You remember? But we don't pass like that. But we can use it as a tzirif. Then we have also a das from the Urach HaShulchan, very interesting Urach HaShulchan, which the Achronim disagree with him. But again, the tzirif we could use it. Urach HaShulchan wants to say that if a Yid puts meat in a tanner, yeah? If a Yid puts meat in a tanner, and then the goy put on the fire, is the Juka problem from Bishlakim. Because since the Yid put it on, even before the fire is on, but since the Yid put it into the oven in a way that Kavanos el Bishul, so therefore Juka Bishlakim. Now again, we don't agree with Sasha Urach HaShulchan.
You put a trunk pot on, you put the pot on the left, and you turn it on.
And he turns around. We don't write this. Remember, you always say you have to do the second thing, according to the Remu. According to the Mechaber Stam halt das nicht, but according to the Remu. But there's a Urach HaShulchan. So if you have Urach HaShulchan, you have a Rabbi Avrom, and there's other tzrifim also we could. B'mukim tzorich gudel, person that doesn't have what to eat, he went in the Poconos for Shabbos, you know, and he rent out the Airbnb, and he brought one pot, and that's what his food is going to eat, shrach is mechanarov. Then, yesh, mukim, lehukel, you know. Now again, the kenish sich verlassen auf dem lekitchille, it's alles, but the Eved, in the what nicht gemacht, alle Eitzes, but tzorich gudel, you could rely on such a thing. Okay, what is, nach halucha, what is if a goy cooked food for a choilish ein boiskuna? You have a choilish ein boiskuna. Now, a choilish yesh boiskuna, ich meine, mege chayid och kach. But a choilish ein boiskuna, a yid cannot cook for him, but a yisru, a goy could do a malucha for a choilish ein boiskuna, even a malucha deraisa. So therefore, you have over here a choilish ein boiskuna, which a goy cooked on Shabbos. Yeah, and of course he could eat it. It's not complaining for Bishlakim because it's a choila. Oh, but that's only Shabbos. Why? Because since we have no option, a Yid cannot cook. A Yid cannot mechal Shabbos on.
Why? You pay him other food that's nechal chai?
He needs a gewisse food. He needs a chicken soup. The doctor says that his solution is he has to drink something.
If you have kids,
Whatever.
If you have kids, then you
So-
take the challah to the guy.
The what?
If you have kids,
No.
then the guy takes around the challah.
Although you're right that a kid is called choile sheyesh beskuna, chaim beskuna, but that's only in gewisse klulam. It's not a blank statement. A child that doesn't need cholent. A child, you give him wafers or pretzels. You don't need it. So the cancer sugar high chaim beskuna. When the doctor says, or it's a doctor, a child which he needs to have some food. Yes, you have a choile. It's not a choile, but that child doesn't eat. And he only eats a special food, which that's the only food what he eats. And ran out. A kid can starve. Then you can have a goy, should cook it, yeah? That's only Shabbos. Why? Because a Yid cannot do it. You have no option. Since a Yid cannot do it, therefore, is a goy could do it. That's Shabbos. What's Motzei Shabbos? What's talking about Shabbos? Could now, sie should do a Bischul Akim, because, but as a Gemekoch, was doing Legaba Motzei Shabbos. Now again, let me make it clear. Chotschigas by jeder Shar isse der Rabunen, hat man nicht matig in Chol Shayim Beskuna. But a Chol Shayim Beskuna is not allowed to eat a treifes der Rabunen. But Bischul Akim, steht in Primo Gudam, es ist nicht kein Issa Machmas Atzmoy, es ist nicht ein Issa Machmas Atzmoy. It's no one wants gekocht. Therefore, you are allowed to give Chol Shayim Beskuna, give it a Machal. But what's doing about Motzei Shabbos? Is do a größe Machloikes. The remove Paskins, Motzei Shabbos, even a healthy person can eat it. So since you had it was mutter to cook it on Shabbos, because there's Chol Shayim Beskuna, and what?
It wasn't made for that person.
It wasn't made for that person. Es ist gemacht geworden, für a Chol Shayim was not gemacht. It is be'etzim nicht Bishlakim. Even a healthy person could eat it on Shabbos. The Ikene Kide is, weil es ist nicker. Since we know you can only use it because he made it on Shabbos, lechoyle, so therefore he's do a hecker, therefore it's not a problem. Even a healthy person can eat it can eat it on Shabbos. This is the remove. This passes is the remove. But the Terzuov, Sifkut Terzuov, brings the Rashba, which the Rabbi holds, no. Because at the Rabbi, the Rashba goes verkehrt. Since Shabbos, a Yid cannot cook it. So the Goy does it for me. It's verkehrt. He knows I'm doing you a favor. Ich tiepas. In the middle of the weekdays, when the Yid could cook and the Goy cooked it, he didn't do a big favor. I could do it myself. You could do it myself. The Yid could do it himself. But over here, with a Yid cannot do it himself. Only a Goy has to do it. So the Goy does you a favor. So the Rashba, ad Rabba, do mehr chashash for chastnas. Because he feels you owe him something, he's your friend. I went out of my way for doing something for you. So the Rashba is even a while treifas, and therefore it's awesome. Now, if a person is a choila, you can do it. But if it's not a choila, what?
What about other people?
Yeah. So das also sucht der Zuv, und der Zuv sucht as Sesuser. Nicht nur das, the Terzuv halt, the choile itself, Motzei Shabbos, if it's not a choile, cannot eat it. Not eat it. So we have a machlokes. The Remu holds a buri can eat it, and the Terzuv holds not even the choile itself. So if he's not a choile anymore, or even if he is a choile, but now a yid could cook, so it's awesome. So only Shabbos at Magaset, nicht Motzei Shabbos. Wie a Paskiman. So the Alter Rebbe in Simashid brings this halacha, and the Alter Rebbe writes the Loshen, the Motzei Shabbos is Osir Laburi, Mishim Bishil Akim. Alter Rebbe brings this halacha, and it says Shabbos is Mitter, Motzei Shabbos is Osir Laburi. So is du Medaikim, this is a Medaik from Alter Rebbe, as well Alter Rebbe kvesh Osir Laburi Motzei Shabbos, is Alter Rebbe wants to tell you the body is Osir. But their choile itself, since it was mitter for him in Shabbos, he could eat it Motzei Shabbos. Although Motzei Shabbos, you can have now a yid should cook for him the chicken soup where he needs. But since Shabbos is given mitter, is buri stake user, aber for a choile itself it's a mitter. Also kommt aus Paschenal. Alter Rebbe ist klar, aber also kommt aus. What? We b'cholyo, because if not, so the learned Torah says, even though he's a cholyo, should he go and cook it? Aber according to the Alter Rebbe, makes up sure. He's not because he's a cholyo. In for the cholyo, man gemacht as a Shabbos. It's a blab behetayre. Aber somewhere else in Zaburi, habe ich nicht kein problem. This is okay. Noch one thing which I want to say, and just in kurz mamash, I want to talk. Somebody over here asked me, that's why I want to bring it up, about coffee. Yeah, you're going on an airplane. He brewed you a coffee. You're going into a Starbucks. He brewed you a coffee. Now, could you eat it or could you drink it or not drink it? Bishlakim or not bishlakim? It's not the bishim. Now, French kasha or kasha. The extra you have to listen. The kasha you have to be how they wash their pots. But for which there's not a problem, has an OU hechsher. Let's go like that. Which when it comes to bishul, they will have killers. But a person what's the can you be Michael and coffee or not? So it's interesting. The Pesach has a shmiz of this. That the Gemara says, "Shaycher einba bishul akim." On beer, there's no Bishul Akim. So the Gemara asks why. Why isn't there Bishul Akim? So the Gemara says two treats. One teretz is, or the Rishonim, that the Gemara allein dachts mir, that in Gemara's time, it wasn't oil al-shulchan menuchim. Beer was not oil al-shulchan menuchim. So since it's not oil al-shulchan menuchim, it's not a problem. The second teretz is, it is oil al-shulchan menuchim, but se wird in this battle b'hamayim. Mayim idich nish du ka Bishul Akim. So although the grain, the sa'oirim, wird gekocht it becomes beer, but sof kesov, Iker is the water. Es wird this battle in the Wasser. Even as a Getranatam. Es wird this battle in the Wasser. The Iker is the Wasser, and Mamayla afila Getranatam, it's Amiter. What is the difference between these two, of the zwei Sachen? What is the evening? With the chilik? The chilik will be, if you have a food, which is your oil shulchan menuchim, but coffee, but you have more water. It's in this battle of mine. According to the first reason of the shaycher, at coffee is amite, because coffee is an osir. Was oil shulchan menuchim. According to the second reason, as when this battle of mine is coffee, aber kein problem. The guy made a coffee, it's not a problem. Zugen of them the achroinam in the Rishonim shoin. Iker toises dachts man allein sucht das klur. Iker is the zweite, the second answer what the Gemara gets. The what? I said it's battle of mine. The Iker is mine. Oh, du is afel leketchila. The shaykhel came afel leketchila. So I said no, the Rasami Machel was basically says get around sort of his flavor. Aber it's nicht flavor. It's a flavor. Aber nicht die Iker Sach, nicht kein problem. Now remember, we had a whole discussion if Tavlin is du Bishul Akim oder nicht. And according to most Achroinim, es ist nicht kein Bishul Akim. Because es ist nicht Oil Shulchan Menuchim Koshi. It's only gemacht, es ist nicht Oil Shulchan Menuchim zu essen. Es ist nur zu geben, Tavl sind andere Sachen. So therefore, Shaykh will be the same thing. So get around my taste. In Meile, habe ich kein problem. So it comes the same thing to coffee. Coffee, habe ich dieselbe Sache. Go made the coffee, Iker is mine, he cooked it, habe ich kein problem. Wie halbt sich ein bisschen mehr the problem? Halbt sich the problem bei instant coffee. Instant coffee, du schon ein bisschen problem. But he does make the eventual battle. The instant coffee itself is in this battle geworden. So geworden jetzt usser. Wie sagst a coffee which you have a freshly brewed coffee, which the guy cooked the water with the beans and comes out the water, is riba mine, Iker mine. But when it comes to instant coffee, is the coffee is only Nescafe shan oil shulchan menuchim. Okay, da sein. What?
You're not eating the pieces.
What is it? So, is the Zach allein.
When does the instant coffee become usher?
Once you kocht, es ist gekocht. Once es ist gekocht.
So in the factory it becomes Bishul Akim.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But it's not. But when it comes out of the factory, it's not oil shulchan menuchim.
Why not?
Because nobody eats instant coffee.
Yeah, but once you mix it with hot water, you eat it. So, ich dachte, ich mache ein Bischel jetzt. Ich habe es gemacht, Ruhe. Ich habe es mit Wasser gewähnt. Jetzt also gemischt es mit Wasser. They cook it, yeah.
Then they freeze dry it.
Yeah, they freeze dry it. Es ist Rav Osner tarnet, als Jeschbukim lehachmir auf instant coffee. Aber die Welt hat das nicht ungenehm. Let me make it clear, but das nicht ungenehm. People drink in so a sach sibas. Verwusst nicht, so a pure Teilen, verwusst mit Zerifem. Und one hat aber schon gerät, als Marsham, what?
Turkish coffee.
What is it?
Where it doesn't dissolve.
Sinks to the bottom.
Mud, cafe pots.
No, and?
Is that an issue?
It wasn't cooked.
It wasn't cooked at all.
It wasn't cooked at all.
So what problem is it? No problem. Aber der Maße, the Welt is Michael bei instant coffee. Auch du genick Zerifem, und wir kennen Michael sein. In the store, when they make your coffee, is freshly brewed.
No, instant.
Yes.
The coolest way is to buy it from the
A bottle of instant coffee.
like I'm saying, the glass, the jar.
The jar, yeah.
I'm not talking about in the plate.
No. That's a brewed coffee. I'm talking instant coffee. That's instant coffee. Aber der Maße again, ist du genick Zerifem auf Michael sein, und also ist Chayna Olmi, and it is okay, wir können es essen. So again, let me just sum up what?
Like chicken stock.
What do you mean chicken stock?
Right, it's water. Chickens they don't chicken. The guy makes a big chicken soup.
Yeah.
And so the broth is reif mayim.
Ja, aber fein, aber der Chicken geworden, du hast es gewaschen. Nein, dort nicht bei Kaffee oder bei Scheichel, wird gesalft, wird heilig in der Wasser. Du hast der Chicken, was der Chicken ist raus. Geht daran an Taste. No, komm even, gehst daran an Schale für auf. Ein Laden ist schon getrillen. Als der zweite heilig. Aber als, es ist nicht dasselbe Däume, dass du zwei Sachen, separate Sachen. Verstehst du genug? Al Capone, ma Yosef, mit Kol, wasche de Bande.
Yeah. Problem mit der Bischol, why it's passionate water.
Sog ich da was, wo ich sag zerriefen, was ich will nicht sagen, sag zerriefen, was man sagen, eine von der Zerriefen ist der Marsham Wiltan, und als Kaffee trinkt man nicht nur mit Milch, bei meiner ist, Kamoshi, es ist Öl, im Schech, man füllen mit Wasser. Es ist auch nur, es ist nur noch zerriefen, was, es ist das Battle, aber ich will nicht sagen, weil you don't pick, how do you say, pick your chimnes. Ayo is ruini mikoma shikasavni, as do I from Bishul Akim. Was Bishul Akim is a ise drabunan. And to do zwei tenuam in order to zana user, it has to be oil shilchem anocham. And as we mentioned, about all the previous shiurim, the oil shilchem anocham means a lavish suuda. Chasana, a bar mitzvah, dinner. If it's oil such a thing, then then there is user Bishul Akim. Another thing, it has to be a thing which you cannot eat it when it's raw. If you can eat it when it's raw, even if the guy cooked it 100%, and it's oil shulchan aruch, it's not an issue. This is how the tenoma has to be. Also, we spoke about that. You have to take in consideration also where you made the product. Not only where you eat it, also and if the place where you made the product is oil shulchan aruch, is it given usa, you have an issue. If it's not oil shulchan aruch, not there, not here, then that's fine. Then we spoke about the Indian fin has to be a zach which is oil shechem menuchem kishala atzmoi, k'moy how it is like it is. If it's oil shechem menuchem only when you mix it with something else, and only through that it will be mixed. For instance, baby corn, which is not oil shechem koshi, only in a salad. Or some will say also chickpeas. At least in America, they want to say it is like that, which is a machloikas. Again, a big machloikas in America. And Israel is 100% oil shechem menuchem. Over here it is a machloikas, and we are machmer to have chickpeas. It should be a bishul Israel kapurim like tchila. In such a case, but ba'atzma gaitis you should know when you mix it over, and only that way it's not a problem. The same will be also all the spices. All the spices, since it's not a thing which you eat like that, it is only when you mix it with something else. It is nish oil shechem menuchem. And therefore, so whenever you buy a product, first thing you have to want to know if you need Bishul Israel or not, is it the thing which you can eat when it was raw, or it is the thing which is oil shechem menuchem. If it's neither of them, then we have another thing which you brought up, as tomar is hazami food, which is oil shechem menuchem and Bishul Akim, but it is a food which nobody can make, only a company can make that way, how they do this thing, special equipment. Hamen it's a mukim, yesh mukim lehukel, hamen it's a Moshe, Feinstein was a hot tzad, was a kind of Michael Zahn of such a case. Then we learned also that the Kiddush Advurim is that Bishul is not only Bishul, it is also baking, roasting, frying, all these things will be steaming. These are 100% do Bishul Akim. When it comes to steaming, haman is a machloikes, if it goes into the gather of cooking or not. So by steaming we will be machmer. Kemivn, as I mentioned, that's only if the whole food gets cooked by steaming. If it gets cooked by putting it in water and the water gets cooked by steam, that's not a heter. Then we learned that smoking, even hot smoking, and can even salting. If you have a herring which is salted, it gets ready to eat by salting, or by what else? Kvisha, pickles, whatever you put it in, and it becomes edible because it was kvisha. So again, whenever you have a shaila, how, what, when we eat, so therefore we have to have things. Which one goes into the category? Then we brought up the halacha that there's a Mechaber says that the Yid has to do chaylik in the Bishul. That means he has to put on the fire and put on the pot. Or if he didn't do neither of that, the Yid goes and stirs the pot. That should be fine. The Ramuz says even if the Yid puts on the fire, that shouldn't be a problem. And the Ramu goes even further, not only when he puts on the fire, even the goy puts it on. That's okay. The Ramu wants to say, even if you put on the fire from a fire, it brings the Yesh Omram, that should also be a heter, which we don't go with that. And B'bayis rule, then we have another shitta, which is Rabbi Avrom, which says B'bayis rule is Bechlal, Nishukam Bishlakim, which we don't rely. But again, when it comes to Shaila B'David, we will always take the tzirui how to go about it and how to make sure that you should be able to eat it. What? Rabbi Avrom is one of the Rishonim, one of the Rishonim which the Tur brings down, and Rabbi Avrom, which is not the Ravat, but one of the Rishonim. And finally we spoke that basically, that, again, and we mentioned then, although we don't rely on the Ramu, putting on from a fire, but the Evet, is given a fire was, which, a big pilot light, by Evet we will rely on it, or when a person has a aid in the women, the ladies on a wheelchair, or the man is on a wheelchair, he cannot put on every time the fire, so you put on 1 7-hour candle, and she puts it on, but the Evet we will have to rely on it. And finally we spoke that basically, if it happens to be that you cooked stuff in a kaila, the kaila becomes osir, and according to the Machaber, which we pass in like Tchila, Bavada, Azoi, you have to kasher it, except if it's such a case that you cannot kasher it, for instance, klai barzel, klai cheres, therefore, then you kasher it 3 times, and when we have this shaila, what we spoke before, he had a goy put on, and people didn't realize, people sometimes they call on a goy, because they know by Neshmosh is Megman, but they don't realize the problem with Bishlakim, and even, let's say, after Shabbos, the chol is over, but they have a problem of the pot. You have to kasher it. And if you can't kasher it, then we rely on 3 times, and we have a osashita where you don't need. A klacheres with the mechaber. If you take klacheres, although we don't rely on klacheres, if you kasher 3 times, it goes out. By Bishul Akim, you should be able lachar ha'maisa. Yeah, lachar ha'maisa. But la'maisa, we'll kasher a pot only in such a case that we don't have an option. In skemanish ashen. Now, one final thing I want to just talk about the month. We have a big machloikes if there is Bishul Akim Ma'amuma. Remember, I brought down the Pesach Shiva. With that, the Pesach Shiva brings down that if there is Bishul Akim Ma'amuma, after all, he's a Yid, and there's no problem of chastnas. Could you eat his food or not? In Inzama Machmer, as leketchila, a goy should not, a Yid, a nishafrim, a Yid, should not cook in a Yiddish house, and it's a problem Bishul Akim. Once it came about the kailam, if you kasher kailam, such a case, it's noch a tzirif, if in such a case that they got mixed together or whatever, or it's a pot which you cannot kasher, has to noch a tzirif, that the poskim will say, as b'mitter, there's no Bishul Akim. So therefore, whenever you have any such a shayla, just look in Shulchan Aruch or ask her off, and most probably he'll take through all the tzirifim, and try to make it as easy as possible. Tam v'loy nishlam hilchas Bishul Akim v'pas Akim.